Speed cameras are on their way to a freeway work zone near you. WashDOT about to debut mobile cameras to what they say is improving safety. Sully is here with details.
Yes, because work zone crashes have become all too common on Washington's roads. There were nearly 1,400 of them in 2023. That's the latest year that stats are available. Those are just crashes into work zones or around work zones. Washington Department of Transportation says 95% of the injuries in these crashes are to the drivers or to their passengers because as you know, the injured get, because you drive into the backs of big trucks, things like that. The top three causes of these crashes fall squarely on drivers: speed, following too closely, distracted driving, impairment, also high on the list. There were 28 people killed in work zones in Washington's roads between 2019 and 2022. So that's why the next year the legislature passed a bill in 2023 to allow speed enforcement cameras in active work zones around the state. Mark Ottley of Granite Construction testified in favor of this bill.
I wonder if people would slow down if they knew it was their daughter, son, grandfather, mother, aunt, uncle that was in those work zones working behind a piece of orange plastic between them and the speeding traffic.
And he says he's seen coworkers and others killed in these kinds of accidents. WashDOT's Travis Snell laid out the need at those legislative hearings.
The program is intended to be a tool to enhance and complement existing state enforcement efforts and to change driver behavior, reduce overall speed, and increase safety for our highway workers and driving public.
Well, the first of these work zone cameras is about to be deployed. They've spent the last year or so trying to figure out how they were going to implement them and what this is going to look like. So there are going to be a total of 6 of these mobile enforcement cameras expected to be active by the end of this summer. The first one's about to go out. We're not quite sure when. The cameras are mounted on a small trailer that can be pulled out just about anywhere and deployed at any work zone. They're just, just what it is. I mean, a couple of cameras, a sensor just on the back of a really small trailer. Now, when they're active, WashDOT must put up signs warning that camera enforcement is ahead and what the speed limit is, so drivers are aware that they are entering an active work zone where an active camera is working, and when possible, they'll put up those digital signs to show what your actual speed is. So at least give you a fighting chance to maybe avoid a ticket and be safer through that work zone. Now, the cameras only take a picture of the car and the license plate. Tickets will be sent to the registered owner of the vehicle. No fine for the first violation, but a second violation and any others after that, $248. So a pretty sizable chunk. The violations, though, will not go on your driving record, so it shouldn't impact your insurance or things like that or count against you for things. But, yeah, they're getting really serious about this, and those cameras could pop up just about anywhere. They're really mobile.
Well, it's outrageous whenever somebody dies in a construction zone. It is entirely preventable, and It really does seem like people just kind of take those signs to slow it down as suggestions and not the law.
And especially overnight, too, where there may not be a lot of times we have drivers who are distracted or going too fast and they just kind of like bleed over the shoulder a little bit, and then next thing you know, they're hitting an attenuator truck or hitting a state trooper who's sitting there helping to monitor. Yeah, there's really no reason to be going fast in these zones, and this is a way they're going to use the technology that's out there to try to curb our behavior a little bit.
What's your sense in terms of enforcement with cameras? Does it seem like this is going to be more and more the way? Because we've heard your stories, not only these work zones, but just speed in general on the freeway, on the highways, on city streets. Is that the way we're going? I mean, for so long we've had the red light cams, but it does seem to be expanding.
Well, yeah, I mean, every year they seem to expand a little bit in Olympia, right? I mean, they've gone from just school zone, we're just speed zones to school zones to now we have cameras enforcing racing zones. We have bus only lanes. We've got school zones. We've got hospital zones where they can deploy these. Now work zones anywhere. And it goes to the fact that there are not enough officers to actively ticket people. There also goes to the fact that in a lot of places, there isn't a lot of space for those troopers to pull over people, especially during the day, without causing trouble. That's why you don't see very many enforcements going on during the commutes, because they know they might have to block a lane to do it because there just isn't room for it. But yes, I think with the lack of resources going to cameras, I mean, we've seen the creep every session. I'm not sure if there's a bill that might move this forward down the field to other places as well, or to smaller communities. But yeah, I mean, we've seen it. And
well, I would be really interested, Sully, in finding out how effective this is. Like, okay, when we start, we are finding X amount, but as user or driver awareness builds, it's now down to Y amount because people have started slowing down.
Well, it's hard to tell because these are so random. It's not like we're putting them in every work zone, right? There are only 6 cameras on these trailers set to be deployed by the end of the summer. So
there's no control in this experiment,
right,
is what you're saying.
There's no bottom to try to get us, that control subject to give us a baseline to kind of go for it. But yeah, you know what? I'm a big proponent of having someone pull you over. They're an active source, but to get at the root cause, which is the ridiculous amount of speeding we're seeing, especially through work zones, something has to be done. And I think I'm okay with this. Though in my heart, I'd rather be pulled over by a trooper. But let's face it, reality is there just aren't enough bodies with red lights and blue lights flashing to do the job.
Well, we can arrange this. We can have them pulled over by a trooper.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I was going to say, I've kind of also, Sully, gone back and forth on how I feel about these kind of automated systems, how I feel about being pulled over by an actual officer. It feels like I would also rather be pulled over by an officer, kind of get told what I did wrong, have the opportunity at least to maybe kind of not plead my case, but talk to someone face to face. But then there is that feeling that you have. Not only are you being potentially pulled over into a dangerous area, or there's not a shoulder, and you're delayed from trying to get to work or wherever you're going. There's also that feeling, that like imminent dread that you feel when you see the lights go on behind you. And it's not the same when you get it in the mail. The fine in the mail. It's still like, oh crap, come on. But it does feel like that shapes your behavior a little differently, depending on how it's enforced.
Yeah, either way, enforcement is a good thing.
Well, I mean, case in point, it was happening on Canyon Road in Pierce County.
Yeah.
I just want to play this soundbite. This is what the deputies have to deal with as people are going crazy, and they are physically pulling people over on that road.
You got nothing better to do this morning, huh?
Nope. We're out here specifically addressing the speed complaints because of the crashes that happen out here.
Well, you don't have anything better to do?
Yeah.
Well, why aren't you pulling over the real criminals? Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that people are still dying. I mean, we had more than 800 people die on our Washington roads last year. I mean, 820 plus, another record.
Unacceptable.
It's just unacceptable. And doing it through work zones, I mean, come on, these people are out there doing a job to make the roads better for us. The least we can do is give them some room and watch the speed. They need to get home at night too, right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, come on, we can do better. But yeah, the cameras are expanding, and good luck with that.
By the way, the cameras are in the newsroom right now. You can watch us on mynorthwest.com. I guess we're getting used to being on camera all the time.
I'm not.
Now on our drive home.